What's up, people? Okay, so I have already made 2 videos about meal planning and meal prepping, and people still have lots of questions. So I figured maybe for this video, what I'm going to try to do is actually get down to business. I'm going to try to figure out a way to splice it together so it's not 2 hours long. So bear with me. This is new for me as well. So first things first, I trust that you've already read your book. If you haven't, stop and read. I trust that you have done your math and you know what bracket you're in. If you haven't, stop and read and calculate. I trust that you have read through the list of what foods are in what colors, and you have written down a shopping list, and you have gone grocery shopping. If you haven't, then you need to stop, make a list, and go to the grocery store. Okay, so I've got all my foods set out. I didn't necessarily plan recipes, and here's a little tip for you, especially if you're new to this meal plan. The simpler you keep it, the better and the easier. And I know that makes food boredom a strong possibility, but until you've got the flow of counting your containers and your meals and all that stuff, then keep it simple. So don't do any complicated recipes. Basically, what that means when you're keeping it simple is cook some carbs, some yellow containers. So I've got a sweet potato here. I've got one left. I got some red potatoes. That's what I'm going to cook for my carbs. And then I have, in case this runs out, I've got a backup of oatmeal. No sugar added. Plain oatmeal. I season it. I flavor it up myself with some fruit. Maybe a teaspoon of all-natural peanut butter. Okay. So I've got my carbs. And for greens, I got me some kale. I got me some asparagus. I got me some squash. And I got me some green beans. Maybe, because it looks a little questionable. I am going to literally, one at a time, I'm going to have my squash and my green beans steaming. I'm going to have my potatoes and my red potatoes and my sweet potatoes in the oven. I've got shrimp, cooked shrimp, as a go-to for when I have run out of my other reds. My kale, I haven't decided yet if I'm going to saute it or if I'm going to make some kale chips. Either way, that's going to be happening. I'm probably going to saute it. I've got chicken breasts, grass-fed hamburger for burgers, and then grass-fed, hamburger meat, because I'm going to make some meatballs. There is a meatball recipe in the 21 Day Fix Extreme book for those of you that are doing the extreme and that are ready to start doing recipes. And if you feel like you got the flow and you want to jump in and make recipes, go for it. But it's so much easier if you actually just cook little food groups, right? For fruit, I've got my bananas. I've got frozen fruit for when the fresh fruit runs out. And I've got fresh berries in the refrigerator. For teaspoons, it's always all natural peanut butter or almond butter and or coconut oil. And then Shakeology, of course, is a red. I used to substitute almond milk in my Shakeology, but I don't anymore. Matter of fact, I don't even miss it because I've learned that dilutes the flavor of the Shake-O, and I just would rather have water. Alright, so I'm going to get to cooking this stuff. Sweet potato. I usually put that in first because it takes the longest. And then what I'm going to do is start cutting these up to go in the oven as well. And I roast them. And I usually roast them in either grapeseed oil or coconut oil. And I just count that as a teaspoon for that day. Actually, I want to add one thing. I am washing my vegetables. I actually just rinse them in water. That is not what people recommend or say to do. So I'm just going to say disclaimer, you're supposed to like buy some stuff and actually wash your vegetables to protect you from pesticides and all that kind of stuff. But I haven't experimented with that yet. I should. I will. But as for now, I don't know much about it. Proceeding. Taters. I am not videotaping myself chopping these up for you because I'm just going to assume that you know how to cut potatoes. Boobies. In the skillet, my burgers are going. A tip for you, because I know a lot of people are like, I don't want to eat the same thing over and over again, and I get that. You know, we all get bored. That's why you switch it up each time you meal prep. But let's face it, food is fuel. If you want to see success, you're going to eat the same crap every day. But one of the ways I get around that is I season my burgers. I'll do 2 one way and 2 another way. If you look through your Fix book or your Fix Extreme book, you will see that you have a variety of seasonings that you can make yourself. That silver doohickey you see right there, that's my steamer. I've got water cooking up to steam, and I'm going to add my squash and my green beans to that. While this stuff is going, I'm going to start washing my green beans and my squash and cutting it and doing all that stuff and throwing it in there. No, I actually don't season that because I like it the way it is. Occasionally you F up. Perfect example. I turned on my back burner and not my front burner. Don't sweat it. You will make this whole situation miserable if you freak out about it. Just... So, green beans are going to be steaming. My burgers are almost done. But I you know, peeled and all that and washed, and I didn't want to record that. I'm trying to make this not 2 hours long. In between this, I check my oven. I even set a timer because I will forget to check my sweet potato, my potatoes, and my chicken that's in there. You don't want to burn it. Learn this the hard way. I burned it. So I set a timer for like 20 minutes just to do a little peek. None of it was done. I'm about to set my timer for another 20 minutes. For those of you wondering, my oven is on 400. Asparagus. I love asparagus. I never get tired of asparagus. I will roast it in the oven and season it. I will steam it. Today I'm going to steam it. I will frickin' pan sear it. Actually, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so another update. I have made a decision to actually eat kale raw. This probably makes you dizzy. I probably shouldn't do that, but whatever. Alright, so last week when I cooked, I made turkey meatballs. That's not it, that's asparagus. Those. And they were flipping. They were so good that I ate on them for 6 days, I guess is what I ended up with. And I still want them. But I thought that I would switch it up and try it with beef. So all this stuff is cooking. My sweet potato is done. I set it out to the side. My asparagus is actually probably going to be done pretty quickly. I'm going to set it to the side and I'm going to start preparing my meatballs. Now listen, I'm not going to press record. It's going to be a minute before I get back on this here screen because my hands are going to get really messy. So, I'll be back with you in a second. Balls. Crappy part, right? My head is in the way. How do you get the dang head out of the way? See that? Let's take a closer look. It's time to clean. That's my food. There's my steamed vegetables. So while my balls are cooking, I can't help myself. I'm gonna clean, and since I hate that part, as I'm sure we all do, that's what I'll do. I hope you bought Tupperware. Okay, another disclaimer. I've been told over and over and over again by really healthy people that know what they're talking about that I need to use glass Tupperware. Here's the thing. I'm poor. I'm not making six figures yet. I will. And also, I've got a really, can you see me, T90 kitchen. I don't have space for a bunch of glass Tupperware. So this is where it's at for now. I'm hoping one day, that'll be able to change. So what I'm about to do is take these little guys and put them in these Tupperwares. I know that my meatballs are half of a yellow, so that means I get to do, if it's a meatball day, I get to do a 1.5 of this little T90 little thing. Potatoes are awesome. So I'm going to go ahead, make sure you can see me over there. I'm going to go ahead and fill these two things up with, how do I want to do that? Do I want to separate it? With one. Also, if you're a germaphobe, you may not want to continue watching this video because I washed my hands, but it's going on 9 o'clock now and I'm tired. I gotta get up at 4. So I do it the quick way. One yellow. Two yellow. Here's what I'm going to do actually to make this easier on myself. I'm just going to go ahead and know that when it has potatoes in it, it's 1.5 yellows. So that's a meatball day. Another Tupperware. I just know from doing this forever that asparagus is actually 10 spears equals 1 green. So I'm going to go ahead and count me out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 asparagus spears. That's my balls. They look yummy, man. I don't know if they're done, though. Cut one open. That bad boy is done. This makes me happy because that means I'm almost done. What? Okay, so another tip with meal prepping. So I already ate on my containers today. So I try really, really, really hard not to taste anything so I don't go over in containers. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to keep going. So another tip I just know from doing this for a while is I know because I have cut up these burgers over and over again and stuffed them into one of those red containers that about one of these is a red container. People don't underestimate the size of that red container. Half a breast is a red. So now I'm actually going to take my steamed vegetables. So got me a red and got me a green in these. Alright, so I think you now get the point as to what I'm doing here. I don't actually do my fruits ahead of time. because I share it with Mom and it's in the fridge. So I just kind of grab it and go by the day. And I will elaborate that in a second. I'm not going to sit here and make you watch me put all of this stuff into containers. So I'm going to vamp out for a second, hit the stop button, and then what I'll do is I'll come back and show you how I plan a day. I may or may not have eaten another meatball. My biggest complaint or problem people come to me with is, how am I going to eat all this food? I'm going to tell y'all, I'm hungry. I am a hungry girl. I have no problem eating it. None. Matter of fact, I will drink just Shakeology and water so that I can have more meals and more containers in a day. So here are my best advice to you. If you are in the highest bracket or even, one below that, eat a vegetable with every meal, especially if you're in the highest bracket. Hide it in your Shakeology. Sometimes do 2 greens in 1 meal, maybe, if you need to. This container is very important, as is this one. If you're ever going to be short this one. Just being real. And even then, though, don't be. This is your energy bracket here. And it's really important to fuel yourself. So try your hardest. Some days it's not going to happen. Don't beat yourself up and throw your hands up and say, I quit. If it doesn't. Okay? Don't. So, my second biggest complaint is I don't like vegetables. If you were old enough to buy this program, you were old enough to learn to eat your veggies. Okay? So, I want you to try them again. If it's a vegetable you didn't like in the past, I want you to try it again. Your taste buds change as you grow older. I want you to learn, as I just said before, hide them in things. I want you to learn different ways of cooking them. If you don't like vegetables, try roasting them, steaming them, not frying them, but sauteing them. That's just not something I have a problem with. I actually love vegetables. There's not really one I can think of right now that I don't like. Another problem I've had people come to me with, I don't have time, enough breaks at work to eat. And sometimes this is actually a really legitimate problem. And I'm lucky. Where our break room is set up at work is very similar to this. Look at this. I don't have kids, but I got fur kids. Look here, little buddy. Cheetah! Excuse me. I'm very lucky. My break room at work is in a space where I can, literally, y'all, I'm serious, in between appointments or surgeries, I will pop something in the microwave, hit it for a minute. Sometimes I can't get back to it and it's cold by the time I do, but I will literally grab a bite, run. Grab a bite, run. It's the only way to fit it in. If you can't do that, I've had some people that are in jobs where it's just completely impossible. What I do is I will eat bigger and less frequent meals. Of course, I know that small and frequent metabolism, blah, blah, blah. That's all true, but you got to get it in where you can fit it in, and if time is a problem, eat bigger breakfast, eat bigger lunch, eat bigger dinner, especially if you're in one of those higher brackets. This is going to take time for you to do. It's going to take trial and error, and if you're in a bigger bracket, after 3 weeks, you recalculate. Eventually, you will be in a smaller bracket. Okay, so now is when things get real. I've cleaned as much as I can for the moment. So at this point, I'm tired as hell. I've worked all day. I've been up since 4 a.m. because I did my workout this morning. And I'm sure if I was a parent, I would have either already done after school, bed, homework, all that stuff, and I would be even more exhausted. But I don't have children. So my meal planning is based on me and my mom and sometimes my boyfriend. picks through my food. And so I'm not actually meal planning for a whole family. And to be honest with you, I've not yet figured out how to advise everyone how to do that. But I do have other coaches that do have families. And if you need special, like more advice on that, then I will get with them and see if I can't get better tips for you. But for me and Mom and this particular meal plan, what I do is I go ahead and separate some reds, some greens, some yellows into containers, and I'm going to elaborate that more. And I just put them in the refrigerator. And the reason I do it that way is so that my mom, because we grocery shop together, we split the grocery shopping bill unless I'm doing the bikini meal plan, and that's another video. So as long as I have them separated out by containers, I can plan each day that morning or the night before, so that she can eat too, if that makes sense. So I'll just have a bunch of Tupperware with some yellows and some reds and some greens, and she can go in and grab. And I know that as long as I got this one and I take a look, there's potatoes in there? No. So all it is a red and a green, and I can plan the rest of my day. I hope that makes sense to some extent. I'll try to explain it a little bit more in a second. Okay, so this is the morning after I have meal prepped. And I thought I would show you what I do when I'm just doing the regular Fix Extreme meal plan. So I plan by, I know I'm going to have my shake for breakfast, and then I decide what I'm going to have for dinner. This allows me to go eat out on the fly if I want to be honest with you, and would make it possible for you as well. You just plan, okay, I got a red, I got a yellow, and you eyeball it carefully. Don't lie to yourself. It's really easy to lie to yourself, but you eyeball it at the restaurant. So I've decided I'm going to have a shake and half of a banana for breakfast. That's a red and a purple, right? And then I'm going to have an apple with 2 teaspoons of almond butter for a snack. And then I'm going to have my meatballs and my potatoes. That's 2 yellows and a red. I'm going to have chicken and a squash. That's a red and a green. And then for dinner, so this is a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 meals throughout the day. I honestly usually like to separate it actually into more meals, but this is just the way it's working today. And then for dinner, I'm going to have 2 servings of the kale. So that's 2 greens, 1/4 of an avocado. I look forward to my blues. That's all I'm going to say about that. And shrimp, along with some homemade salad dressing. So that's 2 greens, a blue, a red, and an orange. And there's my day. There's my 4 reds, my 3 greens, my 2 purples, my 2 yellows, my blue, and my orange, and my teaspoons. So I know what I have to eat. Here's where I run into trouble. Some of you guys usually, I don't have enough. I mean, I have too much to eat. How do you eat all this? I actually get hungry. Or not even necessarily hungry. I just want. So the easiest way for me to do this actually is to plan a bigger dinner, because it's usually at night after dinner when I'm having chill time in front of the TV. It's a trigger for me. I may not even be hungry. So I usually plan a bigger dinner. Sometimes even I save a fruit, even though technically you are not supposed to have carbs or fruits after 4 in your last meal, technically by the Fix plan. But for me, sometimes I need that after work sweet or after dinner sweet. Hey guys, so I've just been sitting here editing this video. First, I want to apologize for length. I did the best that I could, and to provide all the information that I felt needed to go in there. And then also, I realized I didn't actually have an ending. So that's what this part is for. If you have any questions, please comment or message me, text me, and I will be more than happy to answer them.
Good luck. You got this.